emerging trends have you seen globally that are going to affect credit unions here?
Well, I think we tell people that one of the things that we watch closely around the world is that law that is passed almost anywhere in the world makes its way around the globe. Mm-hmm. And whether it ends up in your country or not doesn't make a difference, but it does get looked at and it does get considered. Mm-hmm. So even bad law has to be taken seriously. In fact, bad law has to be taken very, very seriously. And hopefully we stop it before it gets enacted. But the fact is that I think some of the trends that are coming for us have to do with agencies that we don't do much business with. Basel, who has been kind of on the outside of the U.S. I think many of the large banks are very, very familiar with Basel. Certainly the regulatory agencies are familiar with them. This is the group that looks at risk and decides how best to mitigate risk through reserves as well as actions that can be taken before accepting the risk. And credit unions are becoming more and more under that provision. We're not now in most places. Australia is really Australia and a couple of places in Latin America right now are the only places that currently are under Basel. Mm-hmm. My sense is that as that agency gets more and more traction, as we begin to work more and more out of this financial crisis that we've got, that we will see Basel in some other places. And probably a good chance we'll have a real good debate about Basel here in the U.S. And that will have application for credit unions in a fashion that they don't normally see. Will it be negative? Well, hopefully not, but you never know. Mm-hmm. We've got the NCUA who pretty much has set risk ratings and the way we treat risk and how we reserve for it. Now comes an international agency that does it. So it'll be a real test for us. But that's one of the things that very much aware of and very much looking to make sure that if it does happen, that we're in from the beginning, that we get a chance and an opportunity to make sure it's shaped in a fashion that doesn't have a negative impact on us. And that would be true with some other laws, I think also. I think from an operational standpoint, one of the things that we see is a lot of exchanges taking place. That credit unions aren't waiting for World Council, not waiting for CUNA, not waiting for the Canadian credit movement to kind of put them together with their peers. The internet's made that very, very possible. So we see a lot of exchanges taking place. People having internet conversations or virtual conversations that will soon turn into eyeball to eyeball. And we like that. That's really encouraging. There's never one of those that has taken place yet in which both sides haven't benefited from just being able to talk to somebody else who's engaged in the same thing they are in a different place. Mm-hmm. It does tend to put things in perspective.
Right. You think that's a threat to the trade associations?
Oh, I don't think so. I really don't.
No,
I just don't. I just think it's another one of those great tools that only credit unions could have. You just wouldn't see this in a bank. You wouldn't see this anywhere else. But I think there's genuine interest in what you're doing and what someone else is doing and how we can learn from each other. There's always intriguement when you ask the question at the end of the conversation, how did you guys deal with, and then fill in the blank. And what you may find is that in some places it's not as developed as you would like for it to be. But that doesn't mean anything because those are the groups that are using technology better than we are because they don't have to get rid of old legacy systems. They can just step right into what exists today. So in a lot of our countries, for example, or a lot of countries that World Council works with, PDAs, the application of technology in very, very creative ways is just the easiest stuff on earth to do because there's no barriers to take down. And secondly, and oftentimes the government says, this is how we're going to do it. Yeah, and everybody says, okay. And that's the end of that. PDA usage today in the U.S., you can almost name the credit unions that use that technology. We've got one that we're working with, Ventura County in California, who serve migrant workers. And I think you may know that migrant workers get paid based on the amount of crop they pick each day. And so to leave the job to go to the credit union is, that really takes money out of your pocket. It's like being paid on an hourly basis and having to take several hours to go transact your credit business or banking business. So having PDA application just means you can take it right to the field. So if somebody wants to do something, you walk up to them, you're in the bean field, and you say, man, well, I understand that you wanted to make a withdrawal, to make a payment on your loan, and get some information about whatever. And he says, yeah, within 5 or 10 minutes you're done. He hasn't had to travel anywhere, stand in line, travel back. That transaction is taken care of. But the credit union is really growing in membership at this point because people are interested in using that type of technology. We use that all the time in Ecuador, Mexico, in Kenya, places you wouldn't think of as the bastion of great technology usage.
Right.
But this is easy stuff.
Well, and there's no alternative.
Yeah.
And there's no better, I mean, that's the ultimate of serving your members, actually going out to them.